Wisdom. 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 Reading from the book of Acts, I'll be reading from chapter 9, verses 1 through 9, a very familiar story for many of us, the conversion of Saul. Then Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked letters from him to the synagogues of Damascus, so that if he found any who were of the way, whether men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. As he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly a light shone around him from heaven. Then he fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?" And he said, "Who are you, Lord?" And then the Lord said, "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. It is hard for you to kick against the goads." And so he, trembling and astonished, said, "Lord, what do you want me to do?" And then the Lord said to him, "Arise and go into the city. You will be told what you must do." And the men who journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no one. And then Saul arose from the ground, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no one. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither ate nor drank. God always blesses the reading and the hearing of this his most holy and precious word. Amen. I wonder how each of you happened to come to the Lord. How did you happen to come to the Lord? Did you always go to church? Did you grow up in the faith? From the time you were a baby, were you always in church? Were you a young married person and had a child and all of a sudden said, "I think maybe I better start going to church"? And that's maybe when you started going to church? Did something happen in your life that was a crisis that you said, "I need something that grounds me and that helps me and strengthens me"? I need God in my life. And that's what brought you to church? Did any of you have a sudden moment of conviction and of conversion, like Saul does here? Thinking that you're just going down the right path, and all of a sudden something just turns you completely around and says, "You know, you're going the wrong way. How about following my way?" We all have different stories, don't we? We all have different ways in which we came to Jesus, or that Jesus came to us. Saul, who later became known as Paul, Saul was a good Jew. He was a Pharisee. He was one of those Pharisees that Jesus was always speaking against, who kept the letter of the law and forgot the heart of it. Saul was one of those who thought that these Christians, they weren't even called Christians yet, they were called followers of the way. That's how they're described in the book of Acts. These followers of the way, because Jesus said, "I am the way." He thought they were changing the Jewish religion, changing the faith, watering it down, and he said, "We got to wipe them all out." And he started to do that. He got permission to arrest people, to have people killed, to throw them into prison, to give them over to the Romans, to send to the gladiators and all that kind of stuff. Saul was not a good dude. He was somebody that was greatly feared among people of the way. We have this story which says he got letters of permission to go to another city, indeed another country, Damascus in Syria, to go arrest followers of Jesus and to bring them back for trial for subversing and perverting the faith. He had all intent to do this. But on the way there, it said all of a sudden a great light appeared. A great light. And it shone upon him. And we picture him falling off of his horse and just falling on his face. And the words from heaven, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Who are you, Lord, that I might know who I'm persecuting? Because who does he think Jesus is? What does he think Jesus is? Dead. Nobody could be talking to him that's dead. Who are you that I'm persecuting you? I think I'm doing your work, God. But it's an answer from Jesus. He says, I'm Jesus whom you are persecuting. And Saul is blinded for 3 days. And he goes into Damascus, where he went to arrest people. He thought in the great light of his faith, and instead he goes in darkness. Somebody has to lead him by the hand and take him to a house he can't see a thing. You ever walk in the dark? Even in your own house where you know where everything is, I fall and stumble over things all the time. Grandkids left a ball here or a sweeper here and trip it over. Here, this great, strong guy who has everything going for him suddenly can't take one step without somebody holding him by the hand. He has become like a blind child. And that's where the story right there ends. And if that's all you read, you wouldn't know what else happened, would you? Or why? We have to look at it a little beginning and an end of the story to understand everything that happens. We call this his conversion, but right now he's just in darkness and he's wondering what in the world is going on.